do the sex.
Today's locker room talk topic is brought to you from a girls' getaway at Newport Beach. Not the sexy one, the one on Oregon coast. I mean, for Oregon, this is fucking sexy. For the rest of the world, oh, it's Oregon. And I am here with Abbie, and our locker room talk topic is freaky fetishes, smash or pass. That's right. Abbie and I, and we'll get to Abbie's introduction, but if you've been with me for any amount of time, you have listened to podcasts with Abbie. And in the past, we have done podcasts from other locations on the sexy Oregon beach on a girls' getaway. But what we are going to do today is Abbie and I are here on a little girls' getaway. We have researched several freaky fetishes. We are not, and by the way, we're not fetish shaming. I say freaky because, I think to the mainstream public, people would be like, wow, that's fucking freaky, which freaky can be good. I like to get freaky. Do you like to get freaky?
Sure.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to take turns. We've both picked our own fetishes to share with you, and
not ones that we're into necessarily, though.
Of course not. And we are going to share them with you, tell you what they're about, and then we are going to share whether in any given extreme circumstances, like you are in love, you have, you love this person, and finally they open up and they're so vulnerable, and they're like, baby, I've got to tell you, this is something I've been looking up. I noticed I get my clit, my dick gets hard, and I really want to dip my toe in the water,
so to speak.
And either you're like, we're fucking done, or you're like, I could give it a try.
Smash.
So that's what we're doing today. I'm hoping that some of you, like me, will learn something new about some fetishes that are out there. I'm hoping that you, my dear listener, like me, will learn something new about yourself. You may be like, holy fucking shit. I didn't think I'd be open to that. My God, I'm fucking open to it. And you will, or if you are in a relationship right now where things are a little boring, maybe, dear listener, you'll be like, hey, maybe I'm gonna bring this home to my baby and see what they do. On that note, please recognize we are recording from a place where we have less control over. We have some noisy neighbors. We are working with some so things may not be perfect on this recording.
It's the weekend for everyone.
It is. But we're going to keep it interesting. Also, if you're like, oh, this sounds fucking sexy, and you would like to visually see what we're doing over here, you can go to my YouTube channel. It is at Annette Benedetti on YouTube, Annette, Benedetti, Benedetti on YouTube, and you can hi. You can join us. We will wave at you, smile at you. Abbie might wink at you. You can check out the cat eye that she did on me today, which I'm feeling really proud of. So that's what we're doing. Before we go any further, I want to give a shout out to our friends in Arkansas, Fantasies, Lingerie, and More. They reached out to me. They shared our podcast. I believe it was on Locktober, which is hot. The fact that you shared that, Fantasies, earns you a place in my heart. And they are located in Cabot, Arkansas. And here's the cool thing. So they reached out on social media after I had kind of seen that they had shared our podcast, and I checked out their site. And here's what's really exciting about them. They actually carry some of my favorite sex toys. As most of you know, I am on a 365 days of orgasms challenge, and I have been trying all these toys. I have been using a lot of different things to make me come, and I have come up with my favorites. And if you go to fantasiesAreReal.com, you will see. You will find some of my favorites. And right off the bat, some of my favorites are the Volta. The Volta. You want to try that? It flutters on your clit. I've actually used it on a cock. It was really fun. The Rose, and everybody at this point I think knows about the Rose, right? It is the pleasure air. It will suck the fuck out of your clit. They have that. They have some Weave Vibe products, and I love Weave Vibe. But you can check out their website. They've got some great products that I 100% endorse, and we are heading into the holiday season, so want to get your lever off? If you are in Arkansas or you just want to order something online, and no, they are not sponsoring me. I really appreciate our friends out there who are sharing my podcast and supporting me, so I want to support them. Fantasies, thank you so much. Much love to you. Let me know what you think of our smash or passes on this podcast. I want to hear from you, Fantasies. Abbie, let's talk about you and me.
Is this my cue to say who I am?
Who you are.
I mean, I'm Abbie. I'm not really anybody other than down to discuss and have fun today on this girls' weekend. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What are the other podcasts you've been on, my friend?
Oh my God.
Last one?
What was the last one?
I think it was on our last girls' getaway. That was where I think was it the giving head
I think
one?
we talked about period sex.
Oh, yeah, we
The merits, the drawbacks, some, pointers.
You and I did clitoral oral sex. We did giving head. You and I talked about sucking cock.
And I think I noted how odd that I think that it is that Annette calls every penis a cock. But
Cock.
to each their own,
I like the word cock. Y'all know that.
It's okay.
Cack.
It's just very...
Penis. I'm like, again, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. The language rabbit hole, but I like the word cock.
I also think there was a few group episodes. God, we've been doing this for quite a while now.
We have. We've got quite a few together. So if you are new, then you don't know Abbie. If you've been around for a while, you're like, yes, this is about to get fun, right? So we honestly, we've been day drinking. I had to take a nap before this. I will hopefully be posting some fun videos and photos. I'm on the beach. So I had some oyster shooters, drunken oyster shooters. It was like, oh gosh, I feel like I'm gonna belch.
She loved it. It was
oysters and vodka, drowning
super
in
for me.
In like a Bloody Mary shot. It got messy. It's not sexy, but I will still share it with you guys. But
I don't know. There might be some people who are into that type of fetish.
Well, we're talking about fetishes. You guys might be like, fucking sexy. But that's not what we're doing here. We just got some a champagne. We also have vodka, but I think at this point we're a little bit scared. I'm a little scared to
do too much.
Yeah, because it's been I haven't day drunk in a long time. And on these podcasts, if you've been listening over the last couple of months, because I don't want to be an alcoholic and I'm doing this weekly, I have been doing a lot of podcasts during the day where I am not getting loaded. But I definitely, I've been drinking, I've been smoking some pot.
And eating.
And eating. So we are just having some trashy champagne because that's what girls do on girls' weekend. Anyways,
that's what this is.
Let's get this motherfucker started because I'm excited.
Cheers.
Let's get ready to talk about sex.
Clink.
And clink. It's plastic cups. There's no clink. Sorry, guys. It was what came with the room.
This is locker room talk.
Locker room talk. It's better than a locker room. All right, Abbie, do you want to go first or do I want to go first?
Why don't we go back and forth? and kind of just,
But
yeah, you go first, then me, then you, then me, then you.
Well, I'm just going to,
whatever.
I'm going to start with the one I've actually partaken in. We're just going to start with the obvious. Foot fetish. Foot fetish. I want to talk about this one, Abbie, mostly because I feel like one thing I've been noticing lately, foot fetishes are tied to, it's like when in movies, when someone has a foot fetish, and I say this because I'm watching the new Game of Thrones. What is it called again? I forget.
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. The creepy guy on House of the Dragon has a foot fetish. You've seen this, I assume, if you're watching it.
Loris or something? Is that his name?
I can't remember his name, but
Laris.
you know how she takes her shoes off and he just looks at her feet and jacks off?
Yeah. You know, at first I didn't think that was part of a foot fetish. Do you remember like ever hearing that women, even though this is a fantasy world, do you ever hear that like women who wore those dresses in that time period, their ankles were sort of not supposed to be seen? I looked that up because I thought that that's what was happening. And I think that is a myth.
That it's just a fucking foot fetish?
Well, I mean, it informed that scene that it was indeed a foot fetish, but yeah, it also made me realize that the ankle thing wasn't a thing.
What I'm trying to get to is I feel like it's interesting to me. The foot fetish is tied to some creepy shit. Like it's like, oh, you're into a foot fetish or creepy. And look, any fetish can be kind of creepy, but I also feel like it's kind of strange. Like, I mean, most of foot fetish to me, as far as fetishes go, is fetish light. After researching
Fetish light?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You and I have been researching fetishes. To me, a foot fetish at this point is like, that's
dumbed it down a little bit.
Right. But so, for listeners, if you don't know what a foot fetish is, you've been living under a rock. But because, and I'd also not shaming you for being, not knowing what a foot fetish is, but it is where feet get a person aroused. And this is not, and I think a lot of people think it's just a cock related thing, but that is not the case. I have, believe it or not, had friends with vaginas, vulvas, clits, who've fucked feet. The feet have gone in their vagina.
I think everybody that's been to a porn shop has seen the silicone foot, though, so that shouldn't be surprising.
I haven't. Fantasies?
That's surprising.
Fantasies. Do you have a silicone foot? Let me know.
I think it might be smaller than your average foot, but I'm guessing that, a real sized silicone foot is out there too.
All right. Well, so basically the looking at the foot turns the person on. Then the feet can be used to insert in a vulva or vagina, or to stroke on the cock and get it off. Like, you can do a whole bunch of different things. Right. You can use your feet to like a kitty, again, if you want to head over to YouTube, I will demonstrate this. Otherwise, I will use my words the best that I can to, knead. You can use your feet to knead the cock, the balls, I assume the vulva. I have not done this with a vulva or a pussy owner. And it can bring them to orgasm. Now, I am just going to say I'm a smash on this. I have actually done it for the first time in relatively recently. I want to tell you, though, I was kind of like a pass on this. And I think it's because of the stigma. I think leading up to my personal experience, and how dumb, because this is like low-level fetish. Also, I have a creepy ex, like a real creepy ex from my youth, my teen years, who definitely had I was so young at the time, I didn't know. And he just made it like creepy. And he stalked me for a while and would reach out and be like, please send me pictures of your feet. And it scared me and grossed me out. It's true. Over 30 years. this happen.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is a situation that has caused a little trauma. I'm good, guys. I'm good. I hope he doesn't listen to this and this doesn't reignite his connection. But I have to say, like, I engaged in, quote, I guess engaged in the foot fetish. And what I realized, meaning I used my cute little tiny 5-foot-tall human feet to get a cock off. One day I was just feeling feisty. I was feisty. I was like, if you do this for me, I will fucking jack you off with my feet. I don't know. Why not? Right? And it was all right. So it was sexy, but it also takes some crazy hip muscles.
Do you know, really mean that in the beginning? Like, were you actually going to follow through with that?
Yeah.
Or was it just playful?
Yeah. Like, the person was looking fucking hot. I knew it was something that had happened to them before. That wasn't something that really had happened since. Like, we always try, like, I don't want to be partnered with someone who won't tell me the shit they've done before. That, like, you know, we have, especially I have, you know, I've been fucking for a long time. I've been fucking and fucking around for a long time. I have a lot of experience. I have experiences that have stuck. I've got a lot of experience. I have experiences stuck in my head that weren't necessarily like I didn't fuck, but they were sexy. Like, especially when you're younger and you don't want to go all the way through with sex, because in my generation, I'm Gen X, you're millennial, right? There was a lot of shame with that. So my generation, we got around it by doing some weird kinky things with each other because we didn't want to, like, you know, we didn't want to get ourselves in trouble. But I want to be partnered with people who will tell me about those little freaky things they used to do that they still kind of jack off to or rub one out on. And I want to be able to choose to bring those to life now. Why not? Why, for me, why does something have to remain a fantasy if I am partnered with someone that I'm into and I'm like, dude, we can do that now. We can relive that. We can, like, get into it. And so it was information that had been shared with me by the person that I was with. And I was like, I hadn't done that before. And I'm like, it kind of sounds sexy. And, like, this person, I was fucking turned on by them and their body. And I'm like, fuck it. I'll use my feet to make you come. How sexy is that? And it was actually sexy. It takes a lot of hip muscles because you gotta get up with your feet, you know, you gotta make your feet come together like such. For listeners, your feet have to cup the cock. So
if you're flat-footed, maybe rethink.
Maybe if you're flat-footed, just put that up a vagina.
Though perhaps, I don't know, maybe it would be good.
Yeah, maybe.
So many questions.
But here, look, I'm just saying I got a really good hip and butt workout. I did have, at one point, my foot seized up. I'm not going to lie to you. It was like, and I had to work through it because I knew it would kill the moment. Dude, you guys, I was so good at it. Like, I made that person come. That's how good I was at it.
Excellent work.
Yeah. And even in the moment when I'm like, oh my God, what happens when they come? Are they going to come on my feet? Like, I had never done this before. And then I was like, I think I might be okay with that. Might be okay with spoo on my toes.
Spoo?
Well, you know, spoo. Come, semen.
Oh my God. I've never heard that before. Spoo?
Spoo.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, that's another podcast.
So, smash. How about you, Abbie? Would you?
I'm a solid pass.
What? You've got nice feet too. What? Why?
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Why? Like, if your partner who you love was like, could you just use your toes to tickle my cock? You'd be like, no.
It's just like a little too much for me. Look, I think that my partner wouldn't be into that, so, you know, I don't think that I need to consider that really. But yeah, it's just, you know, no kink shame.
Right.
It just doesn't like really draw any sexual
You don't like feet.
feelings out of me. No, that's not it at all. I've never been one of those people that like needs to like, make it really like clear that one of their main dislikes is feet. That's never been me. But yeah, it's not like a sexual thing for me.
And there is no situation that would arise that you would be like, all right, I'll take one for the team and use my toes. Like
I don't think so.
All right.
If I don't need to, then it poses an impracticality for me. So that's my pass.
All right, pass for Abbie.
Pass on foot fetish.
All right, Abbie. Cheers to me.
Your choices.
All right. So, Abbie, I want to hear what's your first fetish you're going to share?
Okay. So, on the topic of fetishes, we were kind of exploring just a bunch because we want to sort of normalize them and, have a fun conversation. So obviously not all of these or many might, not really apply to me in my life, but they're just something that is maybe like interesting to talk about. So in general, I learned that fetish actually like is called objectum sexuality. So somebody who is fetishistic is into some type of object. And so there's so many fetishes, right? But it's all centering around something. And one of those things that I find really not fantasizing, fascinating, is the fetish that some people have around balloons. And we were sort of talking about this last night. I asked, so people who are into balloons or turned on by balloons are called looners. And I asked Annette, I was like, what's a lunar? And she thought it had to do with moons.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, right, friends? Can I get some support?
No,
right?
it's fine.
All right.
But I think it's LOONERS for all listeners who want to learn more about it. I mean, anybody who gets into any fetish, who becomes turned on by something, and maybe this will kind of bounce back to the foot fetish piece, there's something in their life that happened that sort of brought this into a sexual realm. And so for every person, it's unique and different. But for, looners, people whose fetish is balloons, they really enjoy popping them or having different sized ones, different colored ones, lots of them in the room, playing with them, sounding or hearing the way that they sort of squeak when they touch them in different ways, pulling on them to kind of make what's called the neck of the balloon long. And I think that, maybe some people in this sort of community may just want like balloons around when they're having sex with another person, but there might be other people who like literally have sex with the balloon or involve the balloon like in the actual act. So I found that really fascinating. I don't know why I keep trying to say fantasizing.
Because maybe.
I just find it fascinating.
Oh, I don't know why.
Anything can be a fetish.
Right.
And I think what's interesting to me about it is that it really makes me wonder like what these individual people's stories are, around, not wanting to kink shame. Like, I just want to know more about you and like, where is this coming from and why? And I'm sure so many fetishes like that, but,
so what we're saying is if you're a looner, I want you to contact me, and you and me and Abbie will do a podcast together. We can do this virtually. So please reach out to me. Annette, ANNETTE at sheexplorerslife.com. I am just not hard to find. So please reach out if you're a looner. If you know a looner, I know I've got plenty of listeners. Hook us up. So.
And if you're just like willing to share your theory about like how this came about in your life, like
Yeah.
There may be some looners out there who are willing to talk about like what the fetish is in their life and how it operates in their life, but maybe not necessarily like what their theory is on why it became their fetish. So
Also,
we're interested in those of you who are willing to share that personal
Abbie,
story.
while you were describing it, I was like, that is kind of sad. You're like stretching it and, I mean, the way you were
like
describing
you can
it.
sort of understand, like as a human, have sort of like compassion around like, oh, okay, got it.
I'm like, that could.
Because I think it's like a phallic thing at that point,
It's a long balloon. All right. So, Abbie, if you fell in love, like, pretend like you don't have a partner. All right. If you fell in love with someone new, because I think it's hard for you to imagine your current partner being into this, but if you fell in love with someone and they were like, oh, I've noticed I get aroused at this, is it something you would dip your toe in the water for them with?
I mean, that is such like a hard question. I guess like as a human being who tries to be like accepting, I would like totally listen to them. I wouldn't think they were crazy. But as I am now, I don't think that I would be into it. It doesn't really like turn me on the idea of it. And I guess it would depend on how far they want to go with it. So, if they're like, hey, like just something about this turns me on, they shared their story with me and they're like, can we just have balloons in the room?
I mean, you could
like, sure.
fuck in a room full of balloons and maybe while they're banging you, you could squeak one.
Sure.
You could be like,
maybe.
Squeak on it while you're really
I don't see the harm in having balloons in the room. So if it was at that level, I think I could probably smash it. But, I think it would probably turn me off to involve it like too heavily. So it depends.
Well, I just want to say this. I went to Hump Fest. I don't know if any of you have gone to Hump Fest, but if you scroll back in our podcast episodes, myself and Liberty and my partner went to Hump Fest here in Portland, and you should check it out. You should listen to our podcast and then check it out. It's a yearly indie porn festival. I totally want to be in at some point. It's on my bucket list. And there were balloons. And like all of a sudden I'm like, and I didn't get it. I was like, why are the balloons happening? What is this all about? So I know right away, like maybe if you were in that podcast, if you were in that, I'm not podcast, if you were in that porn, maybe reach out to me so we can talk. Now I'm like, oh, to me, that's like, I mean, fucking smash. I will rub a balloon on my pussy. I'll wash it. It has to be washed maybe first. I don't want to get any infection from it. I would rub a balloon on my nipple. I'd make squeaky noises while you fuck me. Although I'm a little bit afraid of the popping sound of balloons. I don't actually like balloons a lot because the popping, I've got some PTSD around that. But I could see how, like, if you want me to get a long thin
I
one.
feel like there's different types of balloons probably in the lunar community that you use for different things. Like they're not just going to put like, I don't know. I'm not,
we don't know.
I'm not an expert, but I also think that there's a lot of people who just in the kink community try to be risk averse and like think about these things while still indulging their kink. So as long as it still is considered a balloon,
I could see almost how a balloon could be used in some BDSM play, like pop it against someone, like, I would not like that.
You're going down the rabbit hole, so it's smash for you, all caps.
Fuck yeah. Like that to me is like so easy. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe after I tried it, I'd be like, fuck that. I don't want to do that anymore. I can't imagine like that deterring me. That seems easy.
So
all right.
Smash
for Annette. Smash-ish for
Smash-ish.
I mean, that's all right. Can you fill me up?
Sure.
Do a cheers. We'll say clink because we can't clink.
Ooh, girl.
Shit. Well,
it's fine. Did we expect anything less?
I'm going to be sleeping under this blanket tonight and it feels appropriate.
This is locker room and talk.
Locker room talking
Locker room
shots.
talking shots. Excuse me. I apologize.
All right, it's my turn. My turn. I pulled out, like, I was like, oh, I'm going to throw this one out. I still think this is kind of dull for us, but furries.
I don't think it's dull.
A little bit. Everybody already knows about it. All right, so it's for people who don't know, furries. I think right now the Republicans in Florida are like using it for some sort of messaging. By the way, fuck you, Republicans in Florida. Furries are people who anthropomorphize, which is basically humanizing stuffed animals. Anyways, so people will dress up as stuffed animals. Kind of, that's a way to put it, or as furry animals. And so that in and of itself is sort of sensual to them. And then some people will take it to the next level. There are furry orgies. It feels like washing the costumes would be a lot of work. That's where I get hung up on. I get hung up on the costumes being furry and having cum in them. And for some reason, I find that revolting. But yeah, then...
No kink shaming.
No, it's not the kink that I am shaming. It's the cum in the fur that bothers me. Like, I'm the same way with beards. Like, I think beards on men men, but also humans
in general,
are sexy as fuck. But when they get too long, and then I imagine because first thing I imagine is me sitting on the face of the person with the beard, and then imagining my cum or wetness in their beard. Something about that.
It's like a fingernails on the chalkboard kind of thing for you.
Yeah. I think when it comes to anything that's phlegm-like, I am revolted. So this is a me thing. It's not a kink thing. So,
which, by the way, there's a kink for that. So.
Oh God, don't.
PSA.
Cannot talk about it. That we can't talk about, or I will gag through the whole thing.
Great. Moving on.
Anyways,
Passing.
So yeah, you dress up as your favorite animal. That should turn you on enough. But then, like, there are furry orgies. I mean, there's a whole life that happens.
Though furry, the community, I know we're not experts on this, but what I do know is that you can be a furry or identify as a furry, and it's not a sexual thing.
Right. But no, I think it's still the fetish because it brings you some pleasure. No?
No. It's not only.
I was on the kink. It was on the kink list at the lists that I was. Anyways.
I mean, it is a fetish, but you can also be a part of the furry community, and it's not about kink.
Right. So the question is, and I'm always, for me, Abbie, I'm always like, most extreme situation. If I met someone who was into this and I was really into them, would I be willing to pick a furry persona
hat on or a furry head on?
Or, I think you've got to got it. So sorry.
Have you seen Marilyn Manson's music video about?
Also, fuck you, Marilyn Manson. I don't like it.
What the hell was that song? Listeners know what I'm talking about. Comment. It's the Marilyn Manson song where the furry women are dancing on that bed with the hats on, or the furry heads.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
So would I just have to put on a head?
I kind of think it overlaps with the goth scene.
I'm not very goth.
And
other than
BDSM
I wear
and all of that.
So would I be willing? Here's what I would say. I'd probably be willing to kind of try to give it a go. I'm going to share some very personal information right now. Do not judge me, listener, because I feel like you and I, listener, are besties, and I feel like you don't judge me, by and large. And maybe we love each other because we can be honest with each other. Abbie, I feel like we are all so close, but you might judge me. I have a butt plug with a tail attached to it.
That's got to be a furry influence.
There is pet play, which is not on the list of what we're talking to. If someone out there is into pet play, let's talk. And there is furry. And I was like, it had at one point in time, someone said to me, hey, I'd like to try out pet play. And I was like, that can't be that big of a deal. And then I was like, and then when the butt plug tail was given to me, I will post a picture of it for y'all.
Not while it's in her butt.
No.
Unfortunately.
I mean, I don't know. Join my Patreon and maybe I will. I don't know. These days I'm willing to go some pretty far. No, I will not. I don't know. We'll talk about it, folks.
Not a full pass.
Not a full pass. Not a full smash on that. I don't think, but that is the closest I've gotten to what I would call furry play. And what I realized about myself is, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even really like Halloween. I don't like dressing up. I don't really.
What?
I don't like dressing up. I don't.
Okay.
It stresses me out. It's a lot of work. I think if I had a partner who was like, I want to try this out, I would have to be like, dude, you're going to have to find, like, look, I will probably put the costume on. I'll probably fuck you in it. But you've got to find the costume. I have to feel good in it. You have to do the groundwork on this because this is not something I enjoy. It's stressful for me.
Yeah, the performative nature is
that is stressful for me.
Hard.
I'm not like that's what. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of role play in my life because it's like, and maybe it goes back to I think
is your past.
I think that
role play is your past.
Well, it is because I think women are performative sexually too much anyways. And I would all right, look, I will say I get into a little bit of role play. I do like to call a daddy here or there. But when it's like too much, when it's a lot
when it's not
of
authentic.
Right. Like when I've really got to like do it, it's just too much. So I'm not going to give it a hard pass. I'm not going to give it a hard smash. I'm willing to go to some pretty extreme lengths for someone that I'm into. But it might be a relationship killer if it was something where they needed it ongoing. But I'd throw on a fucking furry head and fuck someone.
Yeah, I think I would smash for sure. But I think the thing is that I wouldn't be a part of that community. So, not full smash. I'm not a furry. And I also think, again, not an expert on the furry community or kink, but I think that a big part of like furries is sort of feeling like whatever character or whatever animal you choose as your furry character sort of is supposed to exemplify part of your identity as a person or like an alternative side of you that you can only let out while you're in costume. And then I also think another piece of it is like being able to make the costume and getting better at it and sort of working together.
A lot of work.
To like, I think that's why it's such a big, it's such a protected community because there's a lot that goes into it. And then there's a lot of like misconception around it because it's easy to say, oh, that's very like, adolescent. The assumption when you look at it on the face of it.
Right. No, it sounds like a lot of work to me.
Right. It is a lot of work.
You know what? Furry community, first of all, I will protect the fuck out of you. Also, if you don't make me dress up, I will just like roll around naked as myself in a bunch of furry people. Like I will like dive into your furriness and enjoy petting you. But just don't make me do the work and the role play.
Oh my God, that was like such a like sexual statement. I will dive into your furriness and enjoy petting you.
Well, I mean, that's sexy to me. Like, I'm like, I will pet you and treat you like my pet. But I just don't want to have to make the costume and do the... Anyways, listeners, look, we're going to take
We want to hear from a furry.
We want to hear from a furry. And we will emotionally pet you if that will get you to do a...
Maybe you're not into it.
If you're not into it, then we will
Maybe you're a snake.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll work it out.
I don't know if maybe like furries aren't snakes. Maybe they are.
Are they?
I don't know.
Furries,
we want to hear from a furry.
Yeah, I think they're cute. I'm already kind of in love with them.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with many more fetishes. We're moving through them. So, cheers. At the beginning of the year, I embarked on the 365 Days of Orgasms Challenge, and Fun Factory toys like the Lady Bi, a dual motor vibrator that hits my clit and G-spot simultaneously, have been making my orgasms faster, stronger, and way more fun. Here's the good news. Fun Factory makes tons of high-quality orgasmic toys that are both body-safe and eco-friendly, and you can buy them at a 20% discount when you use the code SELS20. That's right. Go to funfactory.com, and when you're ready to make a purchase, enter the code SELS20, or scroll down to the notes in this episode, hit the Fun Factory link, and when you're ready to make a purchase, enter the code SELS20. Then go enjoy your next mind-blowing orgasm. Cheers. And we're back. All right, whose turn? It's your turn. What's your fetish?
Okay, my next fetish that I thought was interesting is pregnancy fetishism. So I think that what's interesting about this fetish, and maybe some people would be like, how is that a fetish? Like, plenty of pregnant women get fucked. Plenty of pregnant people get fucked. Like, it's such a normal human experience. Like, why is this a fetish? But I think what fetishism is that it's sort of, you know, the one thing often, not always, but often, that sort of can get a person off, or that they're like centrally focused on around their sexuality, or like maybe is the peak of like their turn on. I don't know if I'm like, is that a good way to describe like a fetish? Because I don't think that a fetish is like.
Well, I think it's where, all right, let's say your wife is pregnant and you enjoy that, but then when she's no longer pregnant, then you're going to want to either role play pregnancy or find another pregnant woman, because that just gets you off.
And obviously, like any person who has a fetish, it's sort of the degree to which it like turns them on, or that they need it for their arousal is like kind of existing on a spectrum. So with that in mind, fetishes in general, right, often, right, it's around an object. Remember that. So like fetishes in general can sort of be around a body part. And in this case, like we were talking about, you know, foot fetishes, some people have fetishes about like people who are amputees, which I think there's a lot that could be discussed about that in like different, like more political ways. But there's also people who are into butts, right? Like that's a body part, and they fetishize butts.
I've got a nice butt.
Yes, you do.
That's my strong point.
And another one is the belly, a woman or person who is pregnant. And I think oftentimes this fetish is for women identifying women who are pregnant.
Yeah.
And I think it really comes from the taboo nature of pregnancy. Like if you kind of like look at even art history from, I don't know, the 17th, 16th centuries, like pregnancy was such a taboo topic because it kind of showed that, I mean, women, right, they weren't supposed to be interested in sex. Like we talk about that a lot on this podcast, that it's taboo for women to have a sexuality in general, particularly in that time. But being pregnant was just this like, you know, public like way of knowing that they've been sexually active and that they are sexually active. So it wasn't really like shown in art. And then like much later, probably like the turn of the century, it started becoming like, you know, women's sexuality and then like also pregnancy were combined. And so I think the taboo nature of it is like why I think it kind of developed into this fetish. But also like the round curvaceousness of women who are pregnant, just like the primal aspect of it, I think makes a lot of sense for me. So I mean, obviously, like when I'm pregnant, I imagine I'll probably have sex. Will I feel like this like super sexy and sexual person the whole time I'm pregnant? Probably not. But there's a lot of people who I've heard when they're pregnant are like extremely sexual and like turned on and aroused. There's some partners who are like totally uninterested because they're like worried about it. And then some people are just like, God, you're so fucking sexy. Some people's wild side comes out when they're pregnant because of the hormones that are raging through them. So smash for me, for sure.
Pass.
I feel like we've had this conversation before on a different podcast and we talked about this for some reason.
Yeah.
And you said the same thing.
So here is something I'll share with you. I had a lover back in the day when I had lovers, and he had a pregnancy fetish. And so what that looked like, so I know it a little bit more from this. Obviously, I was not pregnant at the time because it wasn't that. I mean, it was a handful of years ago, but it wasn't in my history that long ago. And what that looked like is he would find pregnant women who were basically into, like, wanted people who wanted to fuck them because they were pregnant, and he would then go over to their place, and oftentimes they had male partners who like were aware, and he would go and fuck them, and like it would be a super arousing to him because they were pregnant. I have to say, like, it's a hard pass for me, and not that I have children. I have been pregnant. I certainly have had some fun experiences where I was pregnant when I was pregnant. Although I would say certainly when I was through my pregnancies, I didn't have a great sex life through my pregnancies. But for me, something in my life, I think I've been pretty open, at least with you, Abbie, about. I've done a lot of compartmentalization. Annette as a mom, Annette as a sexual being. I think that probably in the last 2 years, like this podcast for me has been transformational, where I have been able to start to bring all of myself together and be very authentic. So listener, thank you. I have become, I think, more of my authentic self because of this podcast, and because of, I want to say, by and large, the incredible acceptance I've experienced from the feedback when you all reach out to me outside of meaning you find my DMs or you email me, and this goes for all genders, the people that reach out to me. It's been just overwhelmingly like accepting, but for me, the mothering part of my life, still the pregnancy part, like that whole part of my life is a hard separation from my sexual self. And I don't know why. I think I might have some serious fucking trauma around it, but yeah, no, when I was dating that person, it was very much like, go fine, like, good luck. Like, and I did not shame him. He was a lovely human, but it wasn't like, it was like, I can't offer it to you because I'm never going to be pregnant again. And then also like, yeah, that's not, I just see that I cannot sexualize it. I don't look at, and like, I'm very queer. I don't look at, and I do look at pregnant women and I'm like, you're fucking beautiful. You're beautiful. Like, I want to make you feel happy and good, but not in the, like, I want to touch your clit way. So a pass for me. So it's my turn and we're about to get fucking dirty. You know how I like that.
So I left that last one on a sad note. That was a hard pass for Annette.
Hard pass. Love pregnant women. I will have your back through pregnancy. I will hug you. I will like send you like care packages. I'd probably have sex with you, but I would not be part of my fetish. No. I mean, just because I love women and their boobs.
But Demi Moore, like, pregnant? Come on.
I don't know, guys.
That's a beautiful, powerful woman.
Can I have some more champagne? Will you pour me some champagne? I don't know. I've got a
you
lot
don't
of
think
shit
that she's like sexy?
Yeah, no. Yes, I do. It doesn't mean I want to be involved.
Right, but like just in general, she is.
I think pregnant women are sexy. I think they're fucking sexy. I also know they get horny. Like, I think on go back to the water sports episode. I was 69ing and pissed all over. So, like, like I was horny. I've got a great story about that. I'm not going to tell it here. Not my fetish. Pass. But now we're going to move on to
No kink shaming.
Oh shit! I didn't look up how. Folks, I'm sorry. I meant to look up how to pronounce this. I took a nap because I day drank, so I didn't look it up. But I think Abbie took a picture of me passed out. But okay,
We'll post it.
All right.
Can I
sorry.
see it?
Yeah. How would you say that?
Autonepiophilia.
That's okay. What she said. So basically, this is where a grown person likes to be infantilized. If you want to be treated like an infant, and like it's sort of the baby girl kind of thing or baby boy kind of thing. So you're looking for someone. Oftentimes it involves being diapered. I didn't dig into it enough to know if someone would change your diaper. I'm assuming they would. Maybe spank you a little for.
I think many people have heard about this. I mean, TLC, the TV channel, has like exploited this community of people quite enough, I think.
Yeah, and in sort of a bad, creepy way. I'm not going to do that. It also segues into lactophilia, which I actually am very interested in.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, let's get there.
No pregnancy, but lactophilia.
Well, because this is where things get interesting.
It is interesting.
My boobs have been full of milk, and I have had sex, and I have experienced what it's like to have a human that is not my child. Oh boy, this is a lot of information. Anyways, let's go back to
this is your like uncomfortable space.
Oh, I have a lot of
This is interesting. Here on Locker Room
Abbie.
Talking Shots.
Abbie and listener. I feel like you know a lot about me, especially if you've gone from this podcast, you've listened to them all, and then you've gone to my social media, and so I share a lot. But as much as I share, I don't share everything. I hide a lot from you.
Well, we all have that.
I hide a lot from you.
But now we're really interested in pregnant women who are like super down and dirty for sex, and also women whose partners are down to not get milked, but to milk them, because getting milked is a totally different topic.
Yeah. So
I don't know why I needed to make that statement.
Here is what I'm going to be really honest. So I've never dove into this kink. However, I recognize now I have been in situations, I've definitely had men that I've been being sexy with, wanting me to call them baby boy and tell them what to do. And
Baby boy?
Oh boy.
So not daddy, but baby boy.
Oh yeah. No.
Is it just like, yeah, baby boy?
No, it's part of me being like I thought
Like
at first I was
nurturing.
like, I'm just being a dom, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not. This is something different. And I'm thinking of two situations. I mean, it kind of arose organically.
I mean, it feels a little dummy.
Well,
I mean,
I think
it's
it
like
started out, I was like, I'm being dommy. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I'm being mommy. And it was hot. And then like, I didn't really realize it till later on. I have been on TikTok, and I wish I knew her name. I'm trying to get her attention. I keep like sending her messages in comments because TikTok doesn't let you DM. And I'm like, I really want to interview you. There is this fucking gorgeous woman. Her whole thing is she's a redhead, gorgeous redhead with beautiful giant breasts, and her whole thing is, I think it's like mommy stuff for boys. And I have to admit it, I went down the rabbit hole of watching these videos and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And guys will be in there and they'll be like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm here with you. Oh, I am.
And yet they're watching.
I'm like, oh, God, what is her name? Well, I will try to find her name. Maybe I'll tag her in the description of this
redheads,
podcast.
though.
Oh, she is so fucking beautiful.
Them redheads, though.
Her skin is milky white and she's got these voluptuous tits, which is what she used. Like, so in her videos, she gets up real close and she'll like have a napkin. She'll be like, you spilled your milky. You are a very bad boy. And I'm just like, I'm a girl, but whatever. I'm a bad boy. Like, there is just, God damn, she's like.
You don't know how she spells boy.
I don't know. B-O-I.
Could be B-O-I.
I'm just like so confused. Like, I can definitely rub one out to that. But anyways, I think that is this kink.
Potentially.
I would typically say, like, if someone were to approach me with this kink, I'd be like, fuck no. But I'm going to have to say, smash.
I think it's different, but okay. Like, I really think it's when adults are in a role of an infant and they wear a diaper. Sometimes they have a rattle. Sometimes.
I think that's too much for me.
Well, so yeah, I think that's what this is. And it could kind of overlap into sucking the teat.
Oh, well, that could
It may not at all, but I think part of it is like submissive offshoot where somebody's taking care of them. They're kind of playing a role, you know.
Well, so that's where I get like mixed up in my head when we're talking about smash or pass, because I have definitely, all right, so I'm open with you guys. I go down the porn rabbit hole and I have ended up on what I think is lactophilia or whatever the nursing.
That's different. That's very different. Lactophilia and autonepiophilia.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Wow.
If I'm understanding it correctly,
another.
I think it's like because they're infantilizing. There's some clear overlap,
right?
But there also may not be. Like, it may just be kind of like getting turned on by like just, you know, sucking a woman's tits who are lactating.
Right. Like, that's sexy to me.
Yeah. But you don't want to wear a diaper.
No, fuck no. Fuck no. Also, I don't want to be on that end of it. I would rather be on the dommy end of it where I'm like, I think I could handle a diapered partner. Maybe as long as I like not if like, I don't know how far that goes. I could handle being the mommy is what I'm saying. It's not my thing, but I'd dip my toe in that water. You would play
the submissive role though too, it sounds like, and where it like overlaps is just them calling you like baby boy.
I don't know that I would play the submissive. I'd like to be the dom.
I thought you were just saying that you had like a thing for this woman.
I'd fucking do whatever she fucking told me to do.
So I'm telling you.
I would do whatever she told me to do. I gotta find her. Like, I would do whatever you told me to do. I'd be your bad girl.
I mean, I think, so in general, I'm not interested in like sucking the tit of a woman who's lactating. However, like just for that reason, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Though I do identify as a bisexual woman, so I'm not like disgusted by it. And like, obviously, if I was like in a relationship with a woman or an individual who was willing to get like pregnant and could, and they were into that, like maybe I would do it. But just for itself, like the idea itself and the fetish around that, no, not really. So pass for just it as it is. I don't spend my time like fantasizing about that. But I think,
You dip
Do you
your
understand
toe.
what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I don't fantasize about any of this shit either, but I'm just saying, like, if someone brought it to my table and they were like, I really need this, like, all right,
I think it would turn me off if they were like, yeah, baby girl, and rubbing my head as if I was like an infant. Like that part of it doesn't turn me on at all.
Do they rub the back of your head like this?
That's
like,
different.
all right.
That's different. Like if somebody was like, it was about the role play of me being the infant, no thank you. Pass.
So you're a half smash.
The act of it is fine, but like the role play around it is a pass for me.
All right. What do you have?
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit already, is just like role play.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my next one. And that is a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a big piece of a lot of fetishes, like the one we were just talking about. I think one thing that's really maybe the quintessential vision of role play is like the French nurse. At least that's how we're like introduced to it in middle school.
That is so specific.
Right though? Let's clean the house.
Here's to the French nurse.
Which I'm not
Cheers.
opposed to. I completely agree with you when it comes to the discomfort around like the performative aspect of role playing.
Yeah.
Because I think for a lot of women, there's already this inherent piece of like sex feeling, or even just like our histories, even if we feel like we've more or less sort of transcended that or like are healing from that.
Yeah.
There's this legacy in our sexual journeys of like this performative piece. And so I kind of think that like the idea, the concept of role play is kind of like a trigger a little bit. Like I need to be somebody else, and like, who do you want me to be kind of thing. And yeah, so for that reason, it also brings that up in me. But I'm definitely a smash. Like I think with enough conversation about it and like understanding what my partner's into, and if I can see myself in that, then it maybe wouldn't feel performative and I would be into it. But I don't think that I would just dive into any type of role play. Like my partner's like, this week I want you to be a female firefighter, and next week I want you to be a French maid, and they just get to pick and choose whoever I decide to be. I think that might be harder for me to sort of move in and out of, because that would feel like highly pressury.
All right, so this is going to be a quick answer-ish for me. I'm like a half and half. It's not a hard smash for me. I struggle with role play. I struggle with dress up. I don't know why. Also, it's interesting because when I was younger, I wanted to be an actress. I love drama. But it's about tying actual sexual satisfaction to that. It feels like work. It feels stressful to me. And as I am, listeners, if you have been following my 365 days of orgasms challenge, part of that is just being able to orgasm. And so when you add the pressure of role play, sometimes I follow into it naturally. Sometimes I'm banging someone and role play just starts happening. And that's super sexy. But if it's expected, if it's organized, that's where it can ruin things for me. So that's where I'm at with that. So I'm a half and halfer. But look, I think what is coming out in this is like when it comes to fetishes, I'll dip the toe for most things. Although we're going to move on to my next one. And this one is, all right, it is called Clismophilia. I think that's what it sounds like. This is a turn-on-one experience by people who enjoy enemas. Like basically, enemas lead to erotic feelings for them. Now, I have experience with this in two ways. A, somehow going down the porn tunnel, I landed on a enema. I was like, what is happening? And then I was like, that's happening. The other way is that I've been very open about enjoying ass play, and so I always do what I like to call a baby enema. If I'm going to be with a partner where we're going to incorporate butt play, I do not, and I don't want poop to happen. So like I will do a baby enema in advance, meaning it's just kind of a squirty, cleany in advance. And it's interesting because as I was reading about this kink, it was like, oh, well, that creates pleasure. And I have to say one of the things that surprised me when I started doing that was it wasn't it wasn't erotic for me, but I was like, God damn. Sometimes when I've done that, afterwards, I've been like, God, I feel healthier suddenly. Like maybe I was backed up. But this is very much, it creates, people get turned on by being given an enema. And I assume they're enema givers and they're enema receivers. And that is part of the kink. And I thought about it long and hard because I want to be really honest with you guys. Like, could that segue into something I would actually do with my partner? And I want to be honest with you in the sense that I have actually been asked by a partner at one point if they didn't ask me to do it, but they asked me, would you ever be open to this? Me giving you, like, again, I'm just being really honest because I think that's where I hope my listeners, like, when you hear me and when we talk and when I share this stuff, you're like, you see a reflection of yourself. So it's a very honest talk. And they asked me that and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, how would that work that it would be sexy? Because there is nothing sexy about it. I'm like, it's poop. It's poop. Interestingly enough, at the beginning of this conversation, we were talking about beards and cum in the beards and the mucus. Like that, I actually have more of a revolting like reaction to than the actual poop. I don't know why. But I am going to have to give this a pass. I don't think this is something I could, if they were watching, like, do I enjoy, like cleaning myself out sometimes? Sometimes I'm like, afterwards I feel thinner. Yeah. But do I want that to turn into sexy time? I don't think I could. Yeah, no, I'm going to have to pass. Abbie?
Well, I feel like it's a pass for me, but I think I understand. I mean, I can imagine why somebody might be into that. Like if there's any level of pleasure to something, like, you know, there's some pleasure to it. So like, you know, I get that just for what it is. But then also I can imagine like, you know, just thinking about if this is an aspect, sort of a ritual of butt play in general, of cleaning out, getting ready for your partner, I can see how this could be a partnered event, like something where somebody's caring for you or they're showing support or, yeah, it becomes sexualized. And you're kind of in it together and you're wanting to see your partner feel pleasure around this. Absolutely. I can totally like have compassion around how that would develop. It's not something that I would be interested in at this point.
So, what's your next one?
Okay, so this one is called spectrophilia. And so this is for people who report sexual attraction to like ghosts. Okay, so it's this idea that a ghost, it's, I think, more than a fetish per se. It's sort of a fantasy. And so people, it's sort of that succubus concept, right?
So the
Like,
ghost overtakes them and
right. Like they come into the room at night and they're sort of this damsel in distress.
so are they looking for someone to act that out?
Potentially, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to give it a hard pass. Let's just, like, that's not my thing. Hard pass. What about for you?
I think that I never have fantasized about that in my life. But like if a ghost could be like a hot dude that I was into at some point, I don't know, or like my lover coming back from the grave, why the hell not?
Yeah.
Am I thinking about Casper? Do I want to be haunted? No.
All right. There you got it.
But I just felt like that was kind of Halloween-y and we needed to include that one.
I like it. I like it. And also, one of the things I would say, as we were looking up fetishes, a lot of them are sort of fantasy based, right?
Yeah.
So, one of the things I learned about myself is like, I am not like the fantasy based stuff is I like my sex stuff grounded in reality.
Well, we know what your sexual blueprint is. You're a kinkster.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. All right, so my next one is not that. Oh yeah. All right, guys, you're gonna love this one. My chair is very squeaky. Macrophilia. Now, this is hilarious to me because it's a sexual attraction to giants or giantesses. So essentially,
Going into the folklore area.
yeah, particularly arousing niches within this sexual interest include being squished against a giant's breasts, being crushed by a giant, being dominated by a giant, or being physically harmed by a giant, all of which is pretty plausible in giant unregular sized human sex. All right, but what's funny to me about why I found this funny was I'm 5 foot tall. I'm small. I'm small. I know that when you listen to me and maybe in your mind I'm giant, I'm not. I'm small. And I was like, I thought to myself, someone might seek someone like me out. I am not a tiny person officially, but I'm close. And I was like, what if someone who is giant was like, I want it. I assume the fetish goes both ways, right? Like giant people are like, I want a small person to do this. What if I met a giant, also tall people, particularly tall men, are really into me? Came to me and they were just like, it was somebody I was really into. It was like, this is my fetish and you are small. You are small and I know you're mighty, but I want to like crush you. I want to crush you and I want to smash my I think it'd be like, fuck, smash the fuck out of me, motherfucker. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Do I get turned on thinking about him? No. Do I think you could get me off? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I could be your tiny. I could be your little. I could be your not giant, like what is human? And you could be my giant. Fuck.
I think it definitely does go both ways. I mean, think of that old school movie called Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Abbie.
Yeah.
A smash or pass for you. I'm like, I'll be your...
The way it's been described today, no.
It's pass for Abbie.
Though I could see, I mean, again, I think that kind of overlaps with the dom and submissive thing. So I can totally see like where that comes from. It's power play. I mean, power dynamics.
100%. Yeah. All right. What's your next one?
I guess my very last one is voyeurism. And we all know what that is, don't we? It is deriving sexual gratification from watching other people engage in sexual acts.
So you're the watcher.
Yes, so you're the watcher. So I have a funny story about this. Well, not like a personal story per se, but I remember, okay, for those of you, do you remember that show that was on like in the 90s, maybe like early 2000s, late 90s? And it was, I think, like a VH1 or MTV kind of like thing. And it was about sex. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a late night show. And it was basically softcore porn, but it was on like MTV or VH1. And there was this one episode where this guy, or no, this woman who lived in a city, like, you know, slowly through the show, starts seeing this couple like sleeping together who lives in the building across from her, directly across, and she can see them in the next building. And like we've all seen this in hundreds of movies, right? Like some creepy woman falls in love with this man and she gets obsessed, and then she wants to become the wife, or she wants to kill the wife, or she just needs to get with him or whatever, right? This particular instance, I think, was probably the first time I'd ever seen a depiction of a woman masturbating like on TV. And she was just kind of, she like watched through the window and saw him naked, and then saw him and his partner kissing. And then she kind of like leaned up against the wall in her house, put her hands down her pants, and started masturbating. And I can't remember what this is. Listeners, if you remember exactly what I'm talking about, please let Annette know.
Yeah,
but
I don't feel, yeah.
I remember thinking like, there's just so much like buildup in that. There's so much fantasy in that. There's so much kind of naughtiness in that. So yeah, totally smash. Do I want to non-consensually watch people like have sex? No, not at all. And I'm kind of sensitive to like the type of porn that I watch as well. Like I really am conscientious about that. But, you know, I think in general, just like that is pretty sexy for sure. Or has the potential to be. Even I think romance novels are sort of like a layer of voyeurism. So definitely smash for me.
I mean, fucking smash. That's like kink light for me. I also go to sex clubs and love to watch people fuck. Like I will just go to sex club to watch people fuck. Period.
Budweiser in one hand.
Budweiser. No. Why? No. Yeah. Into it. All right. My last fetish, group sex. It's simple. I don't think I need to go into detail about it.
Is it simple though? Like,
well, threesome, foursome.
Day,
it can be
maybe more complex.
It can be people who are what is that called? The upside down pineapple. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
It is swingers. Swingers. It could be swinging. It could be threesomes, foursomes. People who get off on.
I don't know that swinging is a group sex though. You're just sort of
can be
switching it up.
You can swap partners, or it can be group play.
But then that's not really like what it means to be a swinger, right? Or
well, I don't know. I interviewed a swinger, and they said it can be group play.
Okay.
But orgies, blah blah blah. I'm just gonna say hard smash.
Hard smash. Yeah. I mean, outside of the context of this relationship that I'm in, definitely smash. I think that's probably common for most people.
Is it? I want to hear from you, listeners.
I think that there's like definitely a taboo around it. I mean, most fetishes there are. But, you know, I also think that like many people fantasize about group sex in different ways. And groups can be as few as 3.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
From people who have alternative like relationship styles to, you know, people who are just exploring or, yeah, like what have you. I think that's always been since the days of Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
And before.
Anyways,
It's
smash.
a fantasy world, but I think you know what I mean.
Smashity smash.
Smash.
All right.
Smash or pass ended on a just fun note.
Yeah. We all want to have group sex. I don't think that's what we're saying.
That was great. We need to do more of these like smash or passes. Give us some ideas about how we can evolve it.
Yeah, we like
Adapt
the pass or smash, the smash or pass. And also, if you have a fetish, an interest, a thought that you want us to weigh in on smash or pass, send it our way. Like something, because I am clearly looking at fetishes. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know shit. Send it our way.
We can dive deeper into these fetishes.
Yeah.
And learn more.
We would like to.
But also give us ideas about what types of smash or passes we could do. Like maybe we could do like locations to smash or pass. Like location, sex, places to have sex that you would smash or pass.
Yes. Send us ideas, thoughts. Annette.
Concerns.
At sheexplorerslife.com. You can find me on social media at She Explores Life or Locker Room Talking Shots on Facebook.
Instagram.
That's right.
TikTok.
Listen, folks, I'm hanging on to TikTok by my fingernails. I posted a video that really pissed off a bunch of horrible men. Hey, I know I've got a lot of awesome men listening to this. If you want to go over there and help me out, I'd love it. I'm going to have to create a backup account, but I am Locker Room Talk Podcast on TikTok. I am going to create a backup account. Hopefully I can just do Locker Room Talk and Shots Podcast on TikTok for my backup. I'll let you know. I am on YouTube at Annette Benedetti. Head on over there and you can see me do this podcast and talk to you directly. What else? I think that's it.
Back to Girls Weekend.
Oh, we got to get back to girl. We got to go out now and maybe have another cocktail and some food, and it will go well today.
Talk more about smash or pass.
Yeah, we have more smashes and passes. So, love you guys.
Take care.
See you in the locker room.
Enjoy smashing.
Cheers.